Man passes away, explores death's realm, and discovers Earth is a stage for our roles. Hi, my name is Denai. In 2014, I experienced what most people would call a near-death experience. When I went through that situation on January 10th, 2014, it was the most incredible feeling. I never thought it would happen the way it did, as I knew there was something beyond the veil, but I never expected it to happen to me in such a sudden flash. Let me tell you my story. In 2014, I had my fiancée, and life was good. She lived in her apartment, and I lived in mine. I remember that day we went out, had fun, and enjoyed good times. I dropped her off and returned home around 11 p.m. Everything seemed normal. I talked to her a bit before going to bed, then went to bed myself. In the early morning hours, I felt like I was in a tunnel. Initially, it felt like a dream, but I soon realized it wasn't. I found myself in that tunnel with other people, all in a van. As we went deeper into the tunnel, I recognized where we were. I had researched death in tunnels before, but never thought I'd experience it firsthand. We kept going deeper until we reached the end of the tunnel, where there was a bright light. It felt surreal, like something out of those stories of people who had died. I began to question if I was dead myself. As we approached the exit, something unusual happened. I heard my mom's voice saying, "Oh no, we are dead." At that moment, my physical body on the bed completely shut down, confirming my suspicion. Outside my body, I stood in front of my closet. I avoided looking at my body because it felt too real and vivid. Instead, I examined the items in my closet: clothes, jewelry, money, but none of it mattered. None of it could bring me back to life. It was a profound realization that what everyone fights for in life, material possessions, was useless in death. I felt a profound realization that material possessions don't bring anything more than material peace. The spiritual peace is not found in material stuff. So I realized it's not where true peace lies. I left the room because, although my apartment was not large, it was a nice size. I went from the bedroom to the living room, where I had my library. As I looked at my books on the shelves, I picked one up, wondering why I had neglected to read them. I felt deep sadness realizing that I had lost all that knowledge. It was interesting to note that I felt sadness about the books but not about the other material possessions I owned. It was an intriguing realization. Afterward, something interesting happened. As I was contemplating how I could be dead in my apartment by myself, I felt a mix of happiness and doubt. Suddenly, I found myself on a stage. It was like a performance stage where bands would play. From there, I could see Earth from afar. A voice behind me instructed me to bow down to say goodbye to Earth. I was perplexed and asked what it meant. The voice explained that Earth was just a play, and I was an actor. It was fascinating to realize that Earth was just a stage. As the curtains started closing, signifying the end of the show, I realized I wouldn't have any contact with Earth anymore, no news, good or bad, and no one I knew. It was all part of the play. As I was discussing this revelation, the curtains closed, and I obediently bowed down. Then, in an instant, we began to travel. In that realm, traveling wasn't like flying, it was more like being. It felt vast and magnificent. In the realm of death, I felt intense love, joy, and pure energy. Although I didn't see anyone else, I felt their presence. However, I also had worries. Even though I didn't feel fear or have any concerns, I couldn't shake the feeling that my loved ones would worry about me if they knew I was dead. I felt like I could play with death. There was no fear, nothing to worry about. I even thought about coming back to spook my loved ones or attend my own funeral to let them know I'm okay. But then I pondered, what if they found my lifeless body on the bed, especially my fiancée? However, I didn't worry because I felt intense love and knew I was in good hands in that realm of good energy. As I walked in a beautiful valley, I heard soothing music and came across a magnificent gate. It was enormous, reaching the heavens and adorned with intricate ornaments. The music was mellow and relaxing. I stood in awe, contemplating life's questions, eager to seek truth. Although I anticipated meeting Jesus due to my Christian upbringing, I was more interested in asking questions than in being greeted by him. I waited in front of the gate, enjoying the serene view and the soothing music. However, I felt a pinch in my heart, a hesitation. I realized that crossing the gate would mean a final end, and I couldn't bear the thought of my fiancée finding me lifeless in bed. I couldn't subject her to that sight. So I decided not to cross the gate, not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. I have my parents, I have my life. These are things I was told before how my life would be. So I don't think all that would be lies. People used to tell me things that would happen at the end of my life, but when it actually happened, I thought, no, it cannot be. This is not the way to go. Why should I die now if I cross? I know it's the end, but I cannot accept that. I'm not pleased with that decision because people would think I overdosed or was on drugs, or anything could be seen as the cause of my death since they wouldn't know. I fell back into my body as I was standing there pleading my case. That's when I felt like I was pushed, but it was like I was very high, and I fell back into my body. It was like a loud silence, if you can imagine such a thing. And as soon as I fell back into my body, I gasped for air and woke up. I opened my eyes and said, no, 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 it can't be, but why? Because of the intense love emanation in that realm. There you feel no fear, only happiness, security, and joy. All these emotions you can feel without seeing or hearing. With the time dilation, it's like you've never been there, but at the same time you have. It was such a powerful experience that I tried to go back to sleep or try to die again by patting my head on the pillow and saying, no, no, no. I wanted to go back not because I wanted to die, but because of the great love and positive energy surrounding me, making me feel safe and secure. But then I realized, hey, you cannot do that. It's the realm of death, and now you're back to life. I considered what could have been, because if I had crossed that gate, it would have been the end. Coming back, I had the experience. I should consider that the greatest experience of my life. As I pondered this while sitting on the bed, I looked at the clock. It was around 5:30 in the morning. I called my friend because I didn't want to keep it to myself. There was only one person I could call, a friend of mine who lives in Florida. I knew she worked the night shift, so she might be home. When she picked up, I told her, guess what, sis? I just died and came back. She was shocked, and we talked about it for a good 45 minutes. After that, I hung up and got out of bed. Before leaving the room, I looked around, feeling like all the material possessions meant nothing to me anymore. Cars, money, clothes, jewelry, I disregarded all of them in that moment. He was so worthless and not necessary that I value my library more than everything. I rushed outside to the living room, where I checked my library. I felt so sad and emotional. I embraced my library, just flipping through a few pages, wishing I could hug it. I cherished it, recognizing the knowledge that many people lack, leading them astray. After I came back, I transformed for the better. It's not about material gain or profits anymore. It's about love, care, compassion, and good relationships. When we look at others, we see God. In the realm of death, there's no religion, hate, or fear. Everyone comes together equally. This experience profoundly changed me. It's the most unique one I've had. I kept it to myself for the last 10 years until I decided to put it in a book. I realized there are countless ways to die, and I explored various religions and beliefs to find truth. Death is like sleep. Every time we blink, we experience a small death. I welcomed the experience and wanted to share it. Thank you for giving me the platform to tell my story.